Ladies and gentlemen, let me break something down that a lot of folks miss, especially in today's world where everything is moving fast. DMs, texts, likes, double taps, all that noise. But if you want to understand how to get a man to chase you naturally, baby girl, you got to stop trying to be chased. That's the whole key. Ain't nothing more attractive to a man than a woman who ain't pressed about him. Ladies and gentlemen, let me break it down to you as real as it gets. You ever seen a man go hard after something? I'm talking about all in, focused, determined, like he's on a mission. It could be his dream job, a championship, a new car, or a goal he set 5 years ago. When a man wants something bad enough, ain't nobody got to remind him, push him, or beg him to move. He just does it. He wakes up thinking about it, stays up planning for it, talks about it, and sacrifices to get it. Why? Because in his mind, it holds value. And when a man values something, he naturally puts in effort. He naturally pursues it. He naturally shows up. Now let's take that same mindset and bring it into relationships. Some women ask, why won't he text back? Why won't he call? Why doesn't he chase me like he used to? The answer, most times, is simple. Somewhere along the way, he stopped seeing the need to pursue. Not because you ain't beautiful, not because you're not good enough, but because he's human, and humans stop chasing what they already feel they've got without effort. It's not always malicious. It's just natural. Men are hunters by nature, but they stop hunting what's already sitting on the porch. That's why respect is key. If a man respects you, he moves different. He watches what he says. He considers your feelings. He doesn't take you for granted. But the real truth is, respect isn't demanded, it's earned. And you earn it not just by how you treat him, but by how you treat yourself. See, when a woman carries herself like she knows she's the prize, when she walks in a room and commands attention without saying a word, when her vibe says, I'm good with or without you, a man takes notice. Not because she said something loud, but because her energy speaks louder than words. Let me tell y'all something, and I want the ladies to hear this loud and clear. The moment you place more value on yourself, the right man will place more value on you too. But if you're always available, always compromising your peace, always going out of your way just to get a little attention, what you've done is flip the dynamic. You're now the chaser, and the moment you become the chaser, he becomes the one who's being chased, and he no longer feels the need to put in the work. Men are built for the chase, but only when they believe what they're chasing is worth the energy. A woman who honors her own time, who doesn't bend for just anybody, who holds herself with class and confidence, that's a woman who makes a man step correct. That's the woman who sticks in his mind. Not the loudest, not the flashiest, not the one doing the most, but the one who ain't afraid to say no thank you and keep it moving. That's what makes her stand out. It's not about playing games. Let's get that straight. I ain't talking about being manipulative or making him jump through hoops just for fun. I'm talking about being in your own lane, taking care of your own life, and letting your peace and presence speak for itself. When a man sees that you don't need him but could choose him, he starts paying attention. When he knows you're not afraid to walk away if things ain't right, he starts stepping up. When he sees that you love yourself deeply, he starts wondering what he has to do to be a part of that love. And that's what gets him chasing, not because you told him to, not because you guilt tripped him into it, but because your value is undeniable. Your respect for yourself teaches him how to treat you. Your energy sets the standard. And when a man sees something rare, something special, something worth fighting for, he won't sit still. He'll move, he'll chase, and he'll show you he's serious without you ever having to ask. There's something magnetic about a woman who doesn't feel the need to explain everything. A woman who walks into a room with her head held high, speaks only when she has something meaningful to say, and doesn't try to win people over with words. It's not about arrogance. It's about presence. A woman like that turns heads without lifting a finger. Not because of how she looks, but because of what her energy says. I know who I am. And that energy, that's what pulls a man in. Not the loudness, not the oversharing, not the constant updates. It's the mystery mixed with confidence that gets his curiosity going. And once a man is curious, once he's intrigued, he starts chasing. Mystery doesn't mean you hiding things. It means you are selective. You don't tell everyone your every move. You don't spill all your emotions in the first week. You don't rush to be known completely. You take your time. You let him earn each layer. Because here's the truth. People value what they discover over time. When you tell a man everything too fast, you give him the whole book before he even turned the first page. And once the whole story's out there, there's no more mystery, no more pursuit. The game's already over before it started. But when you reveal yourself slowly, when you allow him to wonder just a little, it keeps him thinking about you when you're not around. It makes him want to come back, to ask more. Confidence ties right into that mystery. It's one thing to be quiet or private, but it's another to do it with strength. A woman who is sure of herself doesn't apologize for her boundaries. She's not afraid to say no. She's not trying to be liked by everybody. She's not auditioning for the role of girlfriend. She knows her worth and she moves like it. That kind of woman is rare. That kind of woman makes a man stop in his tracks. Because the truth is, most men have seen the opposite. They've met women who give too much, too soon, who rush into love, who rearrange their lives too fast. But when he meets someone who takes her time, who holds her space with pride, he recognizes she's not just another chapter. She might be the whole story. Confidence isn't about walking into a room thinking you're better than everyone. It's walking in not needing to compare yourself to anyone at all. You're good with who you are, flaws and all. You don't need a man to complete you, and he can feel that. That's the kicker right there. When a man senses that you're emotionally full already, that you're not looking for someone to fill in the gaps, it makes him want to be around you even more. Not because you need him, but because you don't. That's where the chase starts. That's when he realizes he's dealing with someone who can stand alone, but might choose him if he's worth it. The women who get chased are not the ones begging for attention or competing for it. They're the ones who understand their value so deeply that they don't seek validation. They give space. They allow a man to wonder, to question, to think. And every time he gets a new glimpse into who she is, he becomes more invested. It's not about keeping him in the dark. It's about keeping him interested through depth, not desperation. So when you carry yourself with quiet power, when you don't feel the need to announce your every move or feeling, and when you trust that the right man will rise to your energy without you chasing him down, you create the perfect storm. That mystery keeps his curiosity alive, that confidence keeps his respect high, and together, those two qualities make you unforgettable. Not because you asked to be, but because your presence made him want to chase you. A woman who knows how to put herself first is one of the most attractive forces in the world. Not in a selfish way, but in a powerful, centered way. When a woman decides that her peace, her growth, her happiness, and her purpose are the most important parts of her life, everything else around her shifts. She stops needing outside validation. She no longer waits around for someone to give her attention or tell her she's worthy. She knows she's already enough. And that kind of energy, it pulls people in without trying. When a man sees a woman who is grounded in herself, who moves with purpose and confidence, it grabs his attention. She's not sitting around hoping someone will notice her. She's not losing sleep over whether he texts or calls. She's got things to do. She's got plans, goals, and a routine that feeds her soul. She wakes up focused, takes care of her business, and lives like she's the CEO of her own life. That's what draws a man in, her independence, her self-respect, her ability to be happy without needing anyone to complete her. This doesn't mean she doesn't want love. Of course she does. It just means she's not desperate for it. She doesn't chase it. She doesn't beg for it. She attracts it. Because love to her is not about filling a hole. It's about adding to the already beautiful, powerful life she's built. That's what makes her magnetic. She's not trying to pull people in. They feel drawn to her because she radiates something real, something rare. She's fulfilled on her own. And that fulfillment is what makes others want to be part of her world. Men are naturally attracted to women who challenge them, not with drama, but with depth. A woman who prioritizes herself has standards. She doesn't say yes to everything. She values her time. She's not afraid to say no. She doesn't drop her boundaries just to keep a man. And when a man experiences that kind of energy, it either inspires him to rise or reveals that he's not ready for her. Either way, she wins because she never loses herself trying to keep someone else. You want a man to chase you? Let him see that your life is already full. Let him see that your joy doesn't depend on him. Let him see that you're not sitting around waiting on love. You're living. Go to the gym. Chase your dreams. Spend time with people who lift your spirit. Invest in your passions. Develop your skills. Grow your faith. Do the things that make you light up from the inside. Because when you light yourself up, you become the kind of woman who lights up every room she walks into, and a man won't be able to help but notice. This is not about being cold or distant. It's about being whole. It's about showing up in life already full, not expecting someone to complete the puzzle. And that's exactly what makes a man want to be part of your picture. He sees you flourishing and thinks, man, I want to be around her. I want to earn a place in her life. That's the difference. You're not chasing, you're choosing. You're not trying to be enough. You already know you are. A woman who puts herself first in the right way teaches a man how to treat her without ever saying a word. Her actions, her boundaries, her self-care routine, they all send the message. She loves herself. She respects herself. And if he wants to be a part of her world, he has to come correct. not because she says so, but because her energy demands it. That's how powerful self-prioritization is. And when you move like you are the blessing, not the beggar, the game changes completely. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop waiting and start choosing. And the right man, the one who sees your light and feels inspired by it, he won't sit still. He'll move towards you naturally and willingly because you've become the kind of woman who's impossible to ignore. When something is always there, always easy to access, always ready at your fingertips, people start taking it for granted. That's just human nature. When someone knows they can have your time, your attention, your energy whenever they want it, they stop valuing it. Not because they're bad people, but because there's no urgency, no appreciation, no effort needed. The more available you are, the more predictable your presence becomes, and the less they feel the need to work for it. That's the reality in relationships, especially when it comes to men. Now, presence is a whole different story. Presence means when you are around, you're fully there. You're not overexposed, but when you show up, it's meaningful. You bring energy, you bring peace, you bring depth. You're not always seen, but when you are, you're unforgettable. That kind of presence creates desire. It makes a man look forward to hearing from you, to seeing you, to sharing moments with you, not because you were constantly there, but because your presence had weight, had impact. There's a big difference between being present and being overly available. Being overly available sends the message that your time is flexible for anyone at any time. It says you'll rearrange your schedule, cancel your plans, and change your whole vibe just to respond to a message or show up when he calls. That behavior might feel like love or loyalty to you, but to him, it looks like you're too accessible. And the more accessible you become, the less he feels the need to earn anything from you. On the flip side, when you have your own life, your own time, your own priorities, and you treat them with importance, it creates a natural boundary. It tells a man, I like you, but I have a life I'm committed to. That's attractive. That makes a man pause and think, what do I need to do to be part of her space? He's no longer just receiving access. He's thinking about how to earn it. That's where the desire builds. That's when the chase begins. Presence also means showing up with intention. When you do choose to give someone your time, it's valuable because it's not given to just anyone. It's not handed out easily. It's meaningful. You're selective, not out of ego, but out of self-respect. You protect your energy. You don't let every conversation pull you in, and you don't let every man get a seat at your table. So when a man sees that you've chosen to give him space in your life, he doesn't brush it off. He values it because he knows it's not something you give away freely. The irony is, the less you chase, the more you attract. When you stop trying to force connection and instead focus on showing up in your fullness, only when it truly matters, you shift the dynamic completely. You go from being always around to being hard to forget. And men remember the woman who wasn't always available, but was always impactful. She might not have replied to every message in 5 seconds, but when she did, she made it count. She wasn't at every event, but when she walked in, everyone noticed. She didn't give him all her time, but when she did give some of it, it felt special. If you're too easy to reach, too quick to please, too quick to respond, you leave nothing for him to earn. And when there's nothing to earn, there's nothing to value. That's not what creates deep desire. Desire grows in the gaps. It grows in mystery. It grows when there's space for a man to miss you, to think about you, to wonder how he can be closer to you. And the woman who understands this becomes unforgettable, not because she's always around, but because when she is, she leaves an impression that lingers. People only treat you the way you allow them to. That's the truth, whether it's in business, family, friendship, or love. The standards you hold for yourself and enforce in your relationships are the instructions you hand out for how others are allowed to show up in your life. When a woman has no standards, when she lets things slide, when she accepts less than she deserves, when she stays quiet about her needs, she's not being kind or easygoing, she's being unprotected. And what happens is simple. A man does what he can get away with. If there are no boundaries, no consequences, no self-respect behind the smile, then he learns quickly that he doesn't have to give much to stay in your life. Standards are not walls to keep people out. They're filters to protect your peace. A woman with standards doesn't have to yell or make a scene to get respect. She just knows when to say no, when to step back, and when to remove herself from anything that doesn't serve her growth. That quiet strength says more than any speech ever could. A man learns very fast how to move around a woman like that, not because she demands perfection, but because she expects effort. Not because she's rigid, but because she values herself. It's easy to believe that having standards might scare a man away, but the truth is, the right man will see your standards and feel motivated, not intimidated. He'll understand that you don't hand your heart over just because someone smiles the right way or says the right thing. He'll know that access to your life is earned through consistency, not charm. And if he's serious, he'll respect that. Because standards don't scare grown men, they separate them from the boy. And the ones who walk away, let them. They were never going to rise to your level anyway. A woman who knows what she wants and refuses to settle for less creates a space where a man has two options, rise or retreat, and either option reveals the truth. When a man chooses to step up, when he adjusts, improves, listens, and grows, is because he sees value in being with you. He understands that the reward of being with a woman who holds herself to a higher standard is worth the effort it takes to meet her there. That's when you start seeing real commitment, real pursuit, and real growth. Not just talk, not just potential, real action. You don't have to explain your standards to everyone. You don't have to debate your worth or prove why you deserve what you ask for. The right man won't need a PowerPoint presentation. He'll see how you move. He'll see the kind of people you allow in your circle, how you treat yourself, how you walk away from anything less than what feeds your spirit. And he'll either respect it and step forward, or he won't, and that's a blessing too. Having standards doesn't mean you're harsh, it means you're clear. You know what you bring to the table. You know what you offer in love, in support, in loyalty. And because of that, you don't allow someone to bring confusion, half effort, or bare minimum energy into your space. You know how to enjoy your own company. You know how to be happy by yourself. So anyone who steps into your world needs to add to it, not subtract from it. So the way you carry yourself becomes the message. If you settle for less, you teach him that's enough. If you accept broken promises, you teach him that words matter more than actions. But if you stand firm, if you speak up, if you protect your standards with peace and confidence, you teach him something else entirely. You teach him that loving you requires effort, growth, respect, and consistency. And that kind of lesson stays with a man. It shapes how he sees you and how he treats you. When a man feels inspired by a woman, everything changes. He becomes energized by her presence, motivated by her character, and drawn to the way she carries herself. It's not about looks, not about perfection. It's about the way she makes him feel when she walks in the room. A woman who is confident, grounded, and emotionally whole creates a space that feels peaceful, exciting, and challenging all at once. She makes him want to be better, not because she told him to, but because something in her energy calls out the best in him. That's what makes a man chase, not pressure, not fear, but inspiration. Pressure does the opposite. When a woman starts trying too hard, when she constantly questions him, tests him, forces conversations he's not ready for, it doesn't pull him closer, it pushes him away. Men don't respond well to being pushed into emotional corners. The more pressure you apply, the more resistance you get, not because he doesn't care, but because he starts feeling like he's being managed instead of magnetized. Nobody wants to be backed into a corner with expectations they didn't sign up for. But when a woman simply lives in her truth, stands in her worth, and lets her light shine without trying to convince him of anything, that's when he starts leaning in. A man can feel when a woman is trying to force love. He can tell when she's overthinking every move, reading into every word, waiting on every call. And that kind of pressure creates anxiety, not attraction. He starts to feel like he can't just be because he's constantly being watched, judged, or evaluated. But when a woman lets go of the need to control the outcome and just focuses on being the best version of herself, everything changes. She becomes the peace he didn't know he needed. And that peace makes him want to come closer, not pull away. Inspiration, on the other hand, is powerful. It's when he sees you showing up for yourself, taking care of your mind, your body, your purpose. It's when you're laughing without fear, walking in your confidence, standing firm in your values. It's when you handle life with grace, even when it gets messy. That's the kind of woman who sticks in a man's mind. He sees her as more than someone to date. He sees her as someone to grow with, someone who doesn't just fit into his life, but expands it. That's when the chase becomes real. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about being someone who's already got herself. There's nothing more attractive than a woman who doesn't need anyone to complete her, but still welcomes love with openness and class. She doesn't demand that he prove his worth every second. She gives space for connection to grow naturally. She allows love to unfold instead of trying to control its shape. And in that freedom, a man finds himself wanting to do more, be more, and stay close to her. The pressure to perform or constantly reassure someone is draining. But the desire to rise and become more for someone who truly sees you, respects you, and inspires you, that's uplifting. That's what men respond to. When a man feels like the woman in his life believes in him, trusts him, and still holds him to a standard without ever nagging or belittling him, it fuels his spirit. It wakes up the king in him. And when he feels like a king in your presence, he'll never stop chasing you. Because